Welcome back, everyone. And I do mean everyone. It's Forgotten Circus. So I'm going to be doing my spoiler review of episode 5, The Rings of Power. And I must say, this actually is hands down the best episode in all the seasons and all the episodes that we've gotten so far. Definitely is the best episode. Now, it does have its faults. I mean, it really does. And I'll go over those. But it's a step. It's like, why couldn't you put out this stuff before? Like, even though it's not the best episode ever, but it's the best episode of this series, of the show. So it starts off, obviously, we know Sauron doing his thing. Sauron, boy. Oh, Team Sauron. I'm so Team Sauron. But the dwarf rings are made, right? I'm going off my notes, right? And then, way to go, King Doran. And he does like a total downward spiral, which I'm going to get into. So he has them forged, and then you got the dad and son argument with Doran the Younger and Doran the Elder. Like, yo, I love the dwarves. Doran's so dope. But yeah. And you know what's not a lot in this episode? Our favorite girl boss. And it's funny how show gets better when a certain character is in there. No fault to the actress or the person, but the character sucks. But yeah, we have the dad-son argument, and yeah. And he's looking at his dad, and he's like, yeah, you've definitely succumbed to the ring. And, Doran puts the ring on, and he starts going a little crazy, but yeah, but Khazad-dûm, that place looks amazing when it's lit. When there's light in there and you can see everything. Like the special effects, I'm not going to lie, on the show are they're very, very, very well done. You just needed a little bit better writers. I don't know who wrote this episode or who directed this episode. If you're using different directors for episodes, keep this one, because this is a little light at the end of the tunnel. So we got Khazad-dûm, amazing in the light, and then Dees is back. She's back on board. She kind of got pulled into it because she wants to sing. You know how the dwarves do their singing and healing the mountains and all that by singing. So, but she's back like, nah, I'm not having it. And then Sauron doing his thing is like, yo, we're going to forge these things regardless, right? Celebrimbor or Celebrimbor. It's like, yeah, but you can see Celebrimbor is a little on the fence. He's like, hold up, I got to tone it back. But Sauron being Sauron, he's like, got another one, coach. Got him. Because like, you're going to do the rings anyway for the dwarves and all these people. And he's just telling everybody basically, yeah, you're going to agree to disagree, but you're going to take these rings. Sauron's so good. Dude's good. And then, we actually got to see if you remember Game of Thrones, Jeez, I am so sorry. But if you remember Lord of the Rings and everything like that, there's a lot of Game of Thrones things in here. That's why I'm mixing it up. But we finally got to see the dwarves that made the Doors of Doran, the ones that you saw in the trilogy with like kind of the elven magic stuff. Yeah, that was dope. You actually got to see them. That's cool. It's like the prototype, and like we are going to attach this to the mountain, and it'll keep us protected, and it'll keep everything out, or it'll keep everything from coming in. Oh, but there's something brewing. There's something brewing that's on the inside that's going to keep that thing in. Yeah. And that was good remember berries. I'll give them that. Like, that's one of those where it was like, you know how sometimes they do remember berries and you're like, oh God, here we go. They're only using that nostalgia. This it fit. I'll give them that. Why am I talking positive about this show? It does have some problems though. And I didn't mind this episode. I actually want to watch this episode again because it was pretty good. And then, and it's like, then we get emo Sauron. It's like, oh, everybody, or Anatar or whatever. It's like, oh, everybody has to feel sorry. I'm just trying to help. I'm just trying. He just keeps playing everybody with different angles. He does the mad angle. He does the okay, do whatever you want angle. He does the emo sad angle. Nothing wrong with emos, whatever. To each his own. But yeah, he's good. And then Celebrimbor is like, hold up. Or Celebrimbor is like, gets that gut feeling. It's the one time when I was like, oh, I think he's got it. I think he might know. And he ain't having it. He's like, yeah, we ain't making no more rings. We're going to do other stuff. Right. And then, but he's still full of himself. He's still so tempted. Still full of himself. But he's like, I know it's a bad idea. We shouldn't do it. We're not going to do it. Let me think about it, basically. Yeah. And then he gets played again. And has anybody asked why we got to make so many rings? Why are we making all these rings? It seems like we're making rings for everybody. And whose rings are more powerful, who's not? Is anybody asking those questions? Like, what do those rings do that those don't? Doesn't that mean if those rings do something that the other one doesn't, eventually there's going to be some type of advantage to maybe a single ring? One ring to rule them all. Nobody asks those, hard questions. Yeah. And then, Emo Sauron's like, fine, if you're not going to help me, like a little brat. He's so good, man. It's so funny. The different angles he plays. I'll just make it myself. Celebrimbor's like, okay, go ahead. I don't care. And Sauron's like, fine, I'll just do it myself. So, and then we got freaking Phazon. I'm not going to call Phazon anymore from the stupid Numenoreans. I'm going to start calling him Lebowski. So Lebowski's just, now he's manipulating his own son, which is, I'm going to get into him. He's manipulating his son to basically hate the queen's former people and all that. And they're going to betray you, but I'm king now. So if you want to be king eventually, son, then you got to follow by daddy's rules. This dude is he's such a douche. I hate him, dude. Him and his son. I'll get into his son. But then Queen Regent is dope. She's so elegant, beautiful. Like that actress. And you almost feel sorry for her because her blindness and what I really think she's going to get her sight back. Out of all this magic and all, put on a ring real quick. My sight fixed. I'm out. And then drop her real quick. But can somebody fix her sight? We got all these magical, mythological things out here, and nobody can fix this girl's sight. Obviously, whatever. And then she does the whole thing. Oh, Captain, my captain, to what is his name? Valandel? Whatever. Numenoreans. Hate them, except for the Queen Regent, because they're all dumb. And then Mr. Dirt Diggler, Phazon, like I told you, I'm going to start calling him Lebowski. This guy is like, I don't know. Now he's going over to the evil snow globe that eventually Saruman gets, but he's over at the evil snow. Oh, the power. And he's in there doing the same thing. That dude, can somebody just murk that guy and get him off? There's certain people in this show that just need to go to make it better. If you need to Game of Thrones these people so nobody's safe. One person that you're starting to hate, you're like, gets taken out. You're like, oh, I can move on to the next person I don't hate or that I hate. But then they got to, don't do that method. We only have so many smart people like, Elrond. Well, obviously you don't take Elrond, but there's some characters that I really do like. And then, so Evil Globe. And then I love Disa and Doran the Younger's interaction with each other. Like, they're the greatest couple ever in this episode. They feed off each other. I think the actor and actress, they definitely have a lot of good chemistry. So that's good. So, yeah. So she wants, there's a couple of funny moments in this part. They're going to the little market, and then she's trying to negotiate for some, this crystal because she wants to gift it to somebody. And he's like, I'm not going to pay that much. It starts out at 300. So the whole, I love the dwarf kingdom. I love the dwarfs, man. You could have done a show just about the dwarfs. That'd have been fun. But yeah, so he gives her extra money. He's like, whatever. You got me again. And then Doran just walks off, and then Disa's sitting there, and then she drops the globe. You have this whole montage where it's going through the crowd, and it goes into like this crevice or this cavern, and so she's trying to find it. So she sings. She does the dwarven singing, and do we maybe have our first sighting or first hearing of the Balrog? I think so. So we'll get into that. And that part was dope. The way the water was shaking. The special effects are really good in this show. I'll give it that. The writing characters, not so much. But yeah. So we got that. And then the dwarves finally get their rings, but not yet. They have to give it to their masters. So the only one that has a ring on right now is Doran the Elder. You know, the king. But the other kings, the other rings have been forged. And then he's telling the emissaries of the other ones, like, yeah, eventually, yeah, we'll return power. The world is weird right now. We need to return order, and we will be the most powerful because we have the most rings. Everybody's got rings, but yeah. And then Sauron is using Meridania, whatever her name is, I forget her name, to get Celebrimbor back. And he's so smooth with how he does this. He's playing sides back and forth. Like, I like the fact of, like, the behind the scenes, the cloak and dagger that's going on in the show. Like, this was a good episode. It was. For the show. But, so she's all like, I saw darkness, pain. And then, you know, Sauron's going to step up like, oh, you saw all that? Oh. How unfortunate, because you just saw me, bitch. You know what I mean? So it's like, gotcha, bitch. So, you know, and then Doran finally called Celebrimbor out. He went there all the way to talk to Celebrimbor. And Doran was like, dude, how much do you really know about this guy, this guy that's helping you out, this blacksmith or forger? You know, how much do you really know about Anatar? And Celebrimbor is like, really don't. He changed his name like 3 different times. And he always said he's a friend of a friend that's a friend. You're probably right. But, you know. Celebrimbor is Celebrimbor. And then Sauron is the master of secrets. Dude's smooth as Varys. He is straight up like Varys. You watch Game of Thrones, he's straight up like Varys, man. So good, dude. And he's like, and then he's putting the moves, kind of the moves like, oh, my other Galadriel. But shouldn't everybody know in the Elven Kingdom that Galadriel's still married to somebody else? Who knows where the other guy is at? Does anybody know? Did he die? Her husband? Her supposed husband that she's so in love with? Where's that guy at? Like, where's his pilgrim? But I no, like, seriously, where's this guy at? But anyway. So, and then we have this weird thing with the back to the Numenoreans. Oh, Jesus. And then I freaking hate, what is his name? Kemen or whatever. He is the Joffrey. He is straight up the Joffrey of this Rings of Power show. He is straight up Joffrey. Can't stand him. And there's a point when Elendil, Valandil, so Elendil is freaking Isildur's father and Valandor's father, right? And Kemen, they're having this whole thing, and then they break up like this shrine thing, the ceremony, because they're trying to build a new aqueduct, and then friggin' Joffrey Kemen comes through like a friggin' straight douchebag. He's like, we gotta shut it down. And they're like, no, we ain't gonna do that. And then I did like how Elendil, I'm sorry, I mispronounced names, punched him right in the face, dog. Like, he gave him that was a straight right or straight left. He gave him the parry jab. And then, so he's like, okay, what we're going to do is, Kemen, like Joffrey, because he can't do anything himself, sits there and starts this whole rumble. So they're all fighting. But there's this weird part when they're all talking together, because obviously he's trying to drown Valandil, and then Valandil literally breaks out of it, whoops his ass, breaks his friggin' arm. With that kind of pain, I don't think that you would be able to do the thing that you're about to do. So he's like, I'm going to give myself up. So you get that whole point of the three of them, but constantly in the background while they're having this montage of talking, there's like 4 extras fighting for no reason. Because if they're all talking and everybody's putting their hands up and everything, why didn't they stop fighting? There's like this constant fight in the background. And I don't even know who died or because there's people on the ground. But last time I checked, they were still fighting. They're just having this whole montage over there of fighting for no reason when everybody's talking. Even the one other guard let Elendil, whatever his name is, let him go, you know? And they're all just having this, like, we need to hash it out, bro. And there's just constant fighting over there. I don't know. But yeah, so he gives himself up, Orlando, and he's like, all right. And then he's like, yeah, whatever. All right, we had a little spat. And then freaking Joffrey Kemen stabs him in the back. Way to go. And it's the whole, I hated that scene. I hate the Numenoreans. But then then you had like so here's the curse. So we go back to the forge, right? With Celebrimbor and Sauron. And Celebrimbor is like, yeah, we ain't doing this. This is weird. We can't do this. We ain't. And it was like, because after he talked to Doran, he's like, did you manipulate the rings? Right? And Sauron, Anatar, whatever you want to call him, he's like, no. Anybody answer that fast, they manipulate him. But anyway, so he goes and walks away. He's starting to walk away, and here's the kicker. He's like, actually, we did. Guilty by association, Celebrimbor. Yeah, actually, yeah, I caught you on some manipulative stuff that you were doing because I'm Sauron and I'm super awesome and I'm the master manipulator. You think I didn't manipulate you to manipulate me to manipulate you back? Ooh, curveball. Got him, coach. Okay, so yeah. Yeah. And he's like, yep, we both did, so you're in it for the long run. Way to go, buddy. Yeah, and then we got Doran. Doran's lost. He's totally lost. He applauds his son. And then, you know, poor Doran the younger, he's just like, he wants his dad's attention and affection that he takes the title back. And then him and Disa have a little spat, and then she does say to him, she's like, you promised me you won't put one of them rings on. And he says, I promise. But he kept his eyes open when he's hugging her. So, oh, Doran, no. Whatever, you're on Team Sauron. But yeah. And then I love how they go back to the forge. Celebrimbor comes down like, yeah, we got to make more rings and all that, and we need them right fast and everything, because he is totally like mind controlled and manipulated by Sauron. He's just Sauron's bitch right now, and Sauron knows it. And so he does this whole spill, and then Sauron acts like he's the savior. He's gonna save everybody. I got you covered, buddy. Don't worry, I'll talk to them. So he hypes up the forge. We get a little pep rally. Let's build these rings. Let's build pure evil, guys. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Chop, chop. But I'm going to give you a pep talk. Pep talk. Because it's us. We are the only ones that can do this. Us. Gives them that whole speech, and they just ate it up, boy. They just ate up, and Sauron like, I got another one, homie. So, yeah. And then it's like a union meeting. He's like, dude, we got you, man. You need your benefits. If you forge these rings, you're going to get paid vacation. All right. Get some R&R. Maybe see a little bit more Middle Earth, you know, because I heard right now that apparently, you know, Mordor is popping, bro. Yeah, we should go out there. And then we finally see the elves, you know. I mean, not the elves, but we finally see what Adar is doing with the elves. Jesus, dealing with the orcs. I'm so sorry, people. Yeah, so they're on their little thing, and you know, already my boy Elrond, poor Elrond. Nobody listens, guy. He's already on it, so he running back to talk to King Giga Chad, which is absolutely useless, and he's poisoned by the ring too. And then he's like trying to tell him, like, dude, that is not the problem right now. We need to handle this. Then we can handle that. It's all going to tie together. He's like, no, we're going to go there. And he's like, dude, there are people coming right now that are going to attack one of the Elven kingdoms. If we lose that, we lose the stronghold. Why don't we do that first and then go over there? And he's like, no, we're going to do it the other way. Poor Elrond. And then we see her. And it all goes to shit. But it does end off okay. All right. So then we see Galadriel, and then we get the whole thing like Adar. He's like, yeah, I didn't bring you here just to enslave you. I brought you here to be free. That's why they opened you up. We have the same common enemy. It's crazy how the first orc or the first of its kind can realize, like, hey, I know we bad, but that is way better. But I don't know. But anyway, it was an okay episode. It wasn't bad. I'll give them that. But they're probably going to ruin on the next one. We'll see. But I could bear through this one. Actually, this one will get a second watch. I'm not saying it's the greatest, but I want to see what I miss. But anyway, tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I want everyone to subscribe. And I do mean everyone.